16 Hall of Fame finalists that were just revealed here on NFL Network. We've also got Robert Woods standing by from the LA Rams, waiting to find out who they will play next week. First, though, we've got 8 teams that are preparing to play this weekend, including the Dallas Cowboys, who, according to Jason Garrett, are locked in, engaged, and ready to go against a Seahawks squad that is as healthy as one could hope to be heading into the playoffs. Just 2 names on their injury report released today, and Pete Carroll says one of them, guard J.R. Sweezy, has a good chance to play. So that is good news for the league's #1 rush offense that is on its way to Dallas as we speak for Saturday's primetime game. Left behind in Renton, Omar Ruiz. Omar, what kinds of things did they work on this week?
Lindsay, they worked on what they work on every day, every week, every year around here, and that's turnovers. They committed 5 the first 2 weeks of the season. After that, the rest of the year, just 6. Those 11 one-off for fewest in an NFL season. Pete Carroll telling me that they reset that emphasis every day, whether it's April, May, week 3, or the playoffs. They'll put those turnovers on the big screen, calling players out during film session with the entire group, guys busting each other's chops even when there's a slight bobble. Turnovers certainly a key to the week 3 matchup with the Cowboys. Seahawks had 3 takeaways, committed none. The first of 8 games this season where they committed 0 turnovers. They're hoping Saturday night is the 9th. You mentioned J.R. Sweezy. He's the only player officially listed as questionable. Pete Carroll saying there's a good chance that he plays, which would complete their offensive line. Again, good news for that rushing attack.
They are healthy. They take care of the ball. They take it away on defense, and they run it well. It all kind of sounds like a playoff formula to me. Thank you, Omar, especially when you take into consideration the guy they have at quarterback, who has been there before, and he has seen this Dallas defense before, too. He didn't go crazy in week 3, just 192 passing yards, but he did enough to win while his defense kept Dak Prescott in check. His numbers pretty mediocre in week 3. Did throw a touchdown, the only one that the Cowboys have scored in their last 3 games against the Seahawks, but obviously not his best outing, David Carr. What does he need to do this time to get his first playoff win?
A lot of what Russell Wilson has done his whole career. You think about this, like Mitchell Trubisky, Lamar Jackson, these guys, Dak Prescott. Russell Wilson is the gold standard, right? Guys that come in and they start as a mobile quarterback, guy that can put pressure on you with his legs. But what you have to get to, especially in playoffs or big games, is the stuff that Russell Wilson does here. In the pocket, literally perfect throws. Nowhere else you can throw it. Doug Baldwin, great adjustment, great big play. But look at this. The coverage is literally perfect. There's nowhere to throw this football except where Russell Wilson throws this football. He's always been a threat with his legs. But this is what has taken Russell to the next level, and this is what Dak is going to have to do. You're going to have to make these big-time throws right here from the pocket. Look at this. There's no room. Lockett saves him like a yard on the sideline to give him room to drop this thing in, and he brings it down from the clouds. So when I look at it from Dak's standpoint, yes, you can make plays on the ground. Russell Wilson does that. Yes, you have a good run game. Russ has a good run game. But this is the stuff you have to do. You got to be able to make big-time throws in the clutch, in the pocket, and he's done that. He's got to do it.
We'll see. Prescott looking for his first playoff win. So is Mitchell Trubisky, who will be playing his first playoff game on Sunday and his team's first playoff game since 2010. How will he respond? Well, that's one of the big questions this week. One, Bears coach Matt Nagy has been kind of downplaying. He says he doesn't want his quarterback to feel any extra pressure this week. He just wants him to continue doing what he has been doing.
We have a lot of unselfish guys on the team, but he's at the top. And when he says that, he means it. He knows that we have guys that don't care how many catches, how many rushes, who gets the touchdowns. He doesn't care whether he throws 5 touchdown passes or hands the ball off for 5. That's just who we are. And then defensively, it's the same way. We're all about we and us, and not about me and I. And he's the leader of all that.
And I wonder who sets the tone for that, right? Matt Nagy enjoying a pretty good first year in Chicago, one of the best first years ever by a head coach. As you see here, his .750 win percentage, tied for 5th best since the league went to 16 games in 1978. And as you see here, all of these other coaches went on to at least the championship round. For Nagy to get there, he's going to have to go through some familiar faces. His good friend Doug Peterson and a quarterback that he helped scout back when he was with the Eagles. That is Nick Foles, who practiced fully today after taking a shot to the ribs on Sunday. For more from the NovaCare complex, here's Tom Pelissero.
The Eagles started practice on Thursday while a song by Lil Baby and Gunna thumped through the speakers next to the field. Title, Underdog. It was a reminder of the mentality the Eagles had as they marched to the Super Bowl a year ago. But this Philadelphia team is in a much different position than the one that earned the #1 seed in the NFC before those dog masks came out last January. Center Jason Kelce said this year we snuck in as a wild card. We're not owed anything. They're the #6 seed in the NFC as they head to Chicago for Sunday's wild card playoff game against the Bears. And the Eagles would have to win 2 more road games after that just to get a shot to defend their title in Atlanta. Quarterback Nick Foles was full go in practice on Thursday. He said his bruised ribs are improving dramatically, though he may wear a little extra protection on Sunday.
Thank you, Tom. Joined by Willie McGinest and James Jones now. With more on this weekend's games, starting with that Eagles-Bears game. James, a lot of variety in both of their offenses. Both teams with 6 guys who have touchdown catches this season. Any idea where the ball's going to go this weekend?
For Philadelphia, yes, and it's going to Alshon Jeffrey. When Nick Foles is in the game, Alshon Jeffrey is his #1 target. And when I watch the games, it's nothing different that Alshon is doing. Alshon is not very quick off the line of scrimmage to create a lot of separation. He's getting jammed up, but Nick Foles is locked in on him. He's waiting on him because he knows Alshon could go up and make those big boy catches and those tough catches. When Wentz was in the game, if he sees him jammed up, he's quickly off him, throwing to somebody else. But Nick Foles is staying on him, giving him opportunities. Alshon is taking off. In 10 games, 500 yards with Carson Wentz. 3 games, 300 yards with Nick Foles. Nick Foles is looking for him, even if he's pressed up, man-to-man, and he's giving him opportunities locked in. And against the Bears, the pass rush is coming. You're going to need one of those receivers to make big boy catches, and I think it's going to be Alshon Jeffrey back at the house.
Sounds like your former quarterback. When you're not open right away, he's off of you. He's
off
going,
me, yes, and I hated it too. Stay with me a little bit, Willie, but he's off to Jordy Nelson to Randall. JJ's jammed up, but Nick Foles is sticking with Alshon.
The one thing I will say about that, the Bears are a little different when it comes to how they can attack you. They can attack you with the front 4 and drop 7. And some of those routes we see Alshon Jeffrey are long passes deep down the field. It's going to take time for him to get that ball down the field. Will he have time?
Give him a chance.
Bears-Eagles, the late game on Sunday. The game before that is Ravens-Chargers. And we've all heard about the ways in which Baltimore has been different since Lamar Jackson took over under center. But Willie, I'm looking at the Ravens' schedule.
Yep.
And I'm wondering how much we actually know about them. Because look at the teams that they've played since Jackson's been the quarterback. And aside from the Chargers, who are legit, and the Chiefs, who they lost to, you've got the Bengals and the Raiders and the Falcons and the Bucks and the Browns, who they barely beat. And all of those teams are pretty bad against the run. So I am wondering, is Lamar Jackson that tough to stop, or has he just not played teams with the people to stop him?
I would say the Ravens are who they are. They've improved every single week. They are legit. They can run the football. They're physical. They have always wanted to dominate you up front in the running game with a great defense. That's what they are. That's the Baltimore Ravens. But I also will say this. If you play into their hands and you do what they want you to do, then they're going to have the advantage. The trick in playing them is not to do it. With their defense, they've always had a dominant defense. They just got back to being dominant. What we did and what a lot of teams did when you play them is you spread them out. You can't let them load the box with their playmakers. You can't let them dictate disguises and move guys in and out of the box and move guys up front. The Chargers, they did that. You got to spread these guys out. If there's any team in the NFL that can do it, the Chargers are one. The other team was the Patriots. When you go back and when they played them in the history, they have a long history of games that they played. They spread them out. They dink and dunk the ball. They find the matchup. They get them out of those disguises. When you do that, you also make those defenders identify who they're covering. You can't play around and pretend you're in one position and then move to the next, because if you do, the ball is going to get hiked. It's an up-tempo offense. So Cleveland Browns did that. The Chargers, they have the ability to do that with their personnel. And if I'm playing them, I'm not gonna say, hey, guess what? We're gonna prove we're more physical than you. No, we're gonna open it up. We're gonna make you play a different style.
And this offense is built on shots down the field. They want to take and make the big play down the field, kind of similar to the Rams offense. So I want Filthy Phillip Rivers to be patient. Okay, Keenan Allen's going to win in the slot. It's okay to get 5 yards here, 7 yards here, but when third down comes, you're in 3rd and 2. You could run any play in the playbook, but don't get greedy because you've been nickel and diming and now you want to take the shot. Now you look back, it's 3rd and 10. You're playing into the Baltimore Ravens defense's hands. So just be patient. It'll come to you.
I wonder how much Austin Eckler changes this matchup, too, because they didn't have him in Week 16, and that different look out of the backfield could be interesting. Ravens-Chargers, the early game on Sunday. Haven't talked Colts-Texans yet, but we will. That is the first game of the weekend, and it is one that DeAndre Hopkins will essentially be playing for free.